Ali Carter exposes all celebrities that were infected at Diddy's parties. The next layer of this story blends the familiar with the nightmarish. Celebrity access masks, darker horrors, and Carter insists the velvet rope conceals more than VIP guests. She's described attendees as being infected in multiple ways, not just physically, but spiritually and emotionally. Imagine walking into a party, greeted by glitz, cameras flashing, champagne popping, appearances that scream status, only to discover you're of service, not a guest. That's what Carter wants us to feel. Hype turned hollow, where celebrities aren't just partygoers. They're participants in something orchestrated. It's a manipulation of intimacy, power, and perception, where entrance fees are human souls, not tickets. And she's saying some people got invited to that sickness on purpose, names that shook Hollywood. Then there's the part that really shook the internet. Carter didn't just accuse Diddy, she brought forth names that left jaws dropping. She alleged that Denzel Washington, a symbol of strength and respect, once confronted such behavior and left the party in outrage. Think about that. Someone known for integrity, stepping into what he assumed was a celebration, only to find himself in a nightmare, masquerading as a gathering. Carter also linked Jay-Z, an icon of hip-hop, and even Oprah, figures long associated with influence and grace, to the fringes of these parties. Whether they were knowingly complicit or unwitting witnesses, her allegations turned hero worship into suspicion. And the shock wasn't just in the names, it was realizing that the masks might be thinner than we believed. Tunnels, secrets, and the underbelly of Hollywood. If that wasn't surreal enough, Carter dropped whispers of a subterranean reality. The idea of secret tunnels beneath famous venues, or estates that served as backdoor exits, black site corridors hidden under the supposed glamour. Imagine the famed Playboy Mansion or certain Getty properties, not just as party spaces, but entry points to hidden passageways for those needing to disappear, reroute, or hide. It's like something out of a thriller, but Carter insists this wasn't fiction. It was her reality. That's the power of the claim, ushering us into a conspiracy layer that viewers can't easily shake off, where architecture becomes complicit in deception. The party favor effect, when people become props. And then came the most chilling refrain of all. Carter described being treated as a party favor. That term alone freezes you, no longer a person, but a prop to be displayed, used, and discarded based on intolerance. She talked about the pressure to perform, for attention, acceptance, survival. She detailed how young people, hopeful and naive, were groomed into silence, told to stay in line, stay compliant, and act grateful. It wasn't just coercion, it was performance training, gaslit through charm and control. You hear party favor, but what you should feel is the deliberate dehumanization of young souls, touted like novelties in a game with no winners. Trauma at the doorstep of fame. And the human cost? Carter has been open about her trauma, dissociative identity disorder, PTSD, foster care entanglements, and feeling entrenched in a system, schools, child services, courts, that ignored her. She warned about hotlines that exist more to take inventory of abuse than to stop it, and attorneys profiting from blood-stained money. She rejected institutional saviors, urging instead ordinary people to speak up, help where they can, and demand accountability. Her story becomes less about shock and more about survival, navigating a justice system that felt rigged, escaping a nightmarish party circuit, and still being haunted by questions of who helped and who looked away. From viral to vigilance, Carter gained visibility in 2020 after going viral, but what she revealed afterward painted a new reality. Her videos, her live streams, her statements struck a nerve. No, not all of it has been verified in court, but that doesn't erase the trauma or the questions. When Hollywood's most admired figures are whispered into these stories, disbelief isn't the default, it's complicity by silence. The internet is ablaze, half in outrage, half in defense. Some accuse her of conspiracies, others call for investigations. But what's undeniable is this. She forced us to question, to look beyond the velvet ropes, and realize that fame might be a facade concealing systemic exploitation, when silence becomes currency. In the world Carter describes, silence isn't just a byproduct, it's a currency. She says people weren't just paid to perform or attend, they were paid to forget, to disappear from the timeline, to keep certain events locked in a mental vault, no matter how traumatic. Celebrities, assistants, agents, even security staff, all allegedly played a part in maintaining this cone of silence. Because the bigger the name, the bigger the damage if something slipped. Carter says some guests walked in as stars and left as victims, but they didn't speak out. Why? Because the payout was too high, or the consequences of talking were too dangerous. Allie's account of infection, not just physical. Let's talk about the word infected, because Carter uses it, but not how you might expect. She doesn't just mean disease, although she's alluded to that as well. She means corruption, a spiritual infection, a psychological transformation that once you've been part of these circles, something inside you changes. The parties weren't just social events. They were rituals of control. According to her, the deeper you got in, the more you lost who you were. Your sense of right and wrong, your moral compass, your memory of innocence all eroded until you became just another mask at the masquerade. The culture of complicity. One of the most unsettling parts of her claims is how normalized it all became. Allegedly, even those not directly participating knew what was happening and chose to look the other way. High-profile managers, label execs, media outlets, even legal reps. People who could have stopped the damage but instead found ways to monetize it. Carter claims this wasn't one man's doing. It was a web, an ecosystem, one where abuse became an open secret, and the cost of speaking out was your entire career. She paints Hollywood not as a single predator, but as a machine made of people who've forgotten how to care. Whispers of rebranding and reinvention. According to Carter, one of the industry's slickest tactics is rebranding abusers and rotating them back into public favor. She says, they'll go quiet for a year, maybe two. Then you'll see them back. Different logo, different project, same behavior. It's the rinse and repeat cycle of redemption culture. The predator disappears just long enough for the public to forget, then returns under a new banner, changed, healed, forgiven. But behind closed doors, the parties resume. The gatekeeping resumes. The pain resumes. Carter's warning. Don't be fooled by the PR. Watch who gets protected. So now, I want to hear from you. What was your gut reaction when you heard those names thrown into the mix? Who do you think should be held accountable for these allegations? Drop your thoughts in the comments. This isn't just entertainment, it's about justice. If Carter's account unsettled you, like this video to help push the conversation forward. And most importantly, subscribe to this channel if you're tired of sugar-coated stories and want real voices amplified. Share this video with people who need to hear the truth beyond the headlines, because until we talk about these shadows, until we question the protectors as well as the powerful, nothing changes. Thank you for staying. This conversation is just beginning.